timing isn't laziness. Its roots are philosophical, kind of romantic. We can actually apply African timing to our own lives. So if you haven't heard of African timing, it refers to a lax attitude towards punctuality. And it's not just reserved for Africa. I'm pretty sure various ethnicities have their own version of African timing. But have you ever stopped to wonder, where does this come from? Mina Salami described the concept of African timing in her book, How It Was Measured. African cosmology, time actually had female and male years. Months were described by moons. Days were concepts like victory, consolidation, unity. Hours were measured by sunsets and sunrises. This alludes to the temperamental aspect of time. And in ancient Greece, there's actually a name for this, that was kairos. And this refers to something that happens at the right time, right moment, not an orchestrated moment. African timing recognizes all modes of time, acknowledges that sometimes a crab might be dragged down, move slower due to wet sand. In another instance, that crab could move very quickly at the sight of a potential mate. And this sounds very romantic. It's quite different from the Western world, where time is more rigid. In Western thought, time is industry and industry is progress. Watching Mina Lay's video, You Don't Have to Be Productive, references Oliver Burkeman's book 4,000 Weeks Time Management for Morals. He references medieval farmers and their relationship to time, and the fact that they didn't really concern themselves with time. But he said, you milked the cows when they needed milking, you harvested the crops when it was harvest time, and anyone who tried to impose an external schedule, for example, trying to milk a month's worth of cows in one setting, would be considered a lunatic. And that was industrialization. In actuality, it's not really Western time versus African time, but rather industrial time versus African time. By no means am I trying to say that one is better than the other. In fact, to say she's not trying to create a hierarchical relationship between the two aspects of time, but she does recognize that there is a time and place to use both versions of time. Some things should be on industrial time. For example, flight times, train schedules, exam schedules. All of these things should be rigid. Other things should be on African time. So when we discuss things like personal transformation or creative endeavors. Mina Salami also states within her book that try to apply the rigidity of industrial time to human beings, the messiness that is life, we might end up defeated and burnt out. It's like the ancient Greek god Cronus, who's actually doomed to an eternity of counting time. Fun fact, which is why the term chronic from the Greek god Cronus is only used to describe time, also used to describe a pathological decision. And as we enter the new year and people start drafting their New Year's resolutions and reflecting upon the year that has just passed, it's easy to fall into comparing yourself, your achievements to people online. It's very easy to be harsh on yourself. But as the late great Ghanaian writer Ama Ata Aidoo states, time by itself means nothing, no matter how fast it moves, unless we give it something to carry for us. And this is why African timing isn't laziness.